The more I learned just how much our kids are being drugged, the more outraged I became. But I was truly horrified at the extent of psychiatric drugging that is forced on children who don't even have a parent to protect them. No one knows this better than foster child counselor Sonia Mohammed, who works with the County of Los Angeles, dealing every day with children diagnosed and forced to take psychiatric drugs.
My personal experience has been that these drugs are very, very dangerous. We don't see any evidence of them doing or accomplishing the things that the parents are being told that they're supposed to accomplish. And unfortunately, there are many stories like yours, which is so unfortunate. My heart is with you and your family that you had to experience this, because no one is really listening to any type of alternative conversation regarding this.
It seems that foster children are much more likely to be medicated than, say, other children. Why is that?
Several reasons. The main reason being is we don't have time to deal with you. That's my take on it. So what we'll do is shut you up and we'll shut you down. That's basically it. Most of the kids that are placed by the Department of Children and Family Services, they're there because they were removed from their homes because of abuse, whether it be emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, a combination thereof. It doesn't seem to occur to the system that this kid is scared. This kid, if they are a victim already of abuse or of some form, that they already are traumatized. And so many of the kids are immediately, in some cases, referred to the local psychologist and diagnosed with something. And then as a consequence, then the drugs are recommended. What I have mentioned to some people before is that I have been in homes where I saw the kids' files piled up in a worker's arms, the files taken to the local psychiatrist. The psychiatrist write a diagnosis, write prescriptions, and they've never even seen the child.
Based on what they've read in a file?
Based on absolutely nothing, because there was nothing but the manager's or whomever case worker's word that this kid is acting out. So we don't even really sometimes have anything in writing other than they're not cooperating with the program, they're crying too much at night, they refuse to go to school in the morning, and that sort of thing. Just verbal information, not even any notes that the psychiatrist can actually follow.
What type of diagnosis are they giving? Are they calling them ADHD?
Well, always ADHD. Everybody is ADHD. That's the beginning one. And then bipolar, and then manic depressive. For foster kids, it's disastrous because many of them, they're bouncing from home to home, school to school, and they're not learning. And so, of course, they're learning disordered, and all of them are emotionally disturbed, and all of them are ADHD. And I would probably say in Los Angeles County alone, we have probably about 50,000 kids in the system. And I would be willing to
say... In the foster care system?
Yes, in Los Angeles County alone. We're not talking Orange County, any of the counties up north.
What percentage of those do you think are on drugs?
I would be willing to say from experience well over, somewhere between 50% and 75%.
It's astounding. Thank you so much for everything. Our children came from loving homes, and we've still experienced these problems, but as far as foster care children go, you know, they've all had issues and reasons that they've been taken from their homes, and I understand that they are automatically put on drugs. Certainly they have to go through psychiatric evaluations. So, you know, you have experience with that.
Right, yeah. Actually, I remember seeing a study that children in foster care are 3 times more likely to be on a psychiatric medication than other children who were on Medicaid. The foster parents don't know. They don't know. When you go into the foster classes, they're told that medication is the answer. When your child is having these issues, get them in. get them in. Those were the exact words, get them in fast so that you can get their medication adjusted. And then the issues continue, or the child just kind of goes numb.
Or the children die, like
Or the
little
children
boy
die.
in Florida.
When I got my little boy, he was on 8 50-milligram pills a day of Seroquel, the antipsychotic, which for a child under 50 pounds is really incredible. That was on top of his ADHD medication. He was so drugged and so violent, I was actually afraid of him, and we would hide our knives at night, our kitchen knives, when we'd go to bed as a family, because we were afraid that he would get up in the night and harm someone. He became so bad that he actually, in one of his foster homes, slaughtered their family pets with a kitchen knife. The foster mother came home, and she sees this, and she thought a burglar had gotten into the house. She was just distraught. Oh my gosh, who could have done this? It never even crossed her mind that the preschooler did it. And she figured it out, that it was him. He had gotten so violent on these medications that he had killed her little family pets. It was decided that he should go to the state hospital, and I left there, and I decided that I would try him. They said I had 2 weeks to turn him around, and then the state hospital was still there if I couldn't do anything. And so I brought him into my home, and the first thing we did is tons of nutrition, food in its most natural form, tons of raw food, tons of whole grains. That's what we did. Lots of real nutrition. And then we started taking him off of his medications. And he turned around so much that I became known in the caseworker's office as the miracle worker. He just made such a turnaround, and today he's just incredible. He skipped a grade, and he's still tops out, nationally, tests out so high, and even the grade that he's in. Plays a couple instruments. He's fabulous at school. This is an exceptional child.
He's not showing violence toward his
Oh,
sister
no.
or your family pets?
Oh, no. He's very sweet with all of our pets. We have 5 dogs, 3 cats, and he's wonderful. And it's just incredible to me how many children out there are in his exact shoes and will never...
There aren't enough people like you to care.
And the doctor can just blame it on trauma.
Or, if a child commits suicide so often, it's just, we didn't get to them soon enough. That's what it is. We didn't get to them soon enough. Because that takes the blame off of them completely. Or like my son's psychiatrist said when her patient shot himself, where'd he get a gun? No, looking introspectively, where'd he get the will? So it's just somebody else's fault. It's never the medications that I prescribed. Or like it was an everyday occurrence, and I was just sitting there flabbergasted and thinking to myself when she said, when she was finally, it said that he was okay to come off all his medications, and with his Seroquel, she said, wow, I am just so glad to see that he can still imagine and play, because so many children who are on this medication for any length of time lose that ability to play anymore. And I was just shocked and thought, how do you sleep at night? Right. I can't imagine taking somebody's creative ability from them. What could possibly be worse than making somebody into someone who they're permanently
like a
scarred?
zombie?
Yes, they're a permanent zombie. What could be worse than that? Tell me a disease that you would rather have than that.
The situation with foster care is truly horrible. As I soon found out, not only are thousands of children drugged every year, but sometimes the results are fatal. I flew to Florida to meet with Michael Friedland, an attorney who represents foster kids damaged by psychiatric drugs, including 16-year-old Emilio Villamar.
Good morning, Celeste. Very nice to meet you. I'm glad you're able to make it.
Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me here.
My pleasure.
How common is the use of psychiatric drugs in the foster care system?
The drugging of children in foster care, I understand, is a way too common occurrence because it's a simple fix. Foster mom or foster dad or social worker says we have a child who won't sleep through the night, or a child who's waking up with night terrors, or a child who's misbehaving or redirecting their frustration on other childs, or using their hands to hurt, not help. And instead of sitting down and working with that child and taking the time to say, what's causing them to act out? No, we're not going to worry about that. We have a fix. Give them this pill. They're using these poor children who are coming from incredibly difficult environments as guinea pigs.
With no one to protect them.
With absolutely no one to protect them. And that's why they prey on them. Because there's not a mom or dad there that can say, hey, no, I'm not going to let you test this untested, unproven drug on my child. So let's test it on children that don't have someone to be their voice.
Oh my goodness. You represent the mother of Emilio Villamar. Can you tell us something about his story?
Just like your son, Emilio was a vibrant 16-year-old boy, played water polo, excelled at school, had lots of friends, came from a great family. Everything was wonderful in his life. And he had a bad situation in school one day. And Mom got worried because he wasn't acting like himself. And Mom, being a very concerned mom, took him to see a doctor. And the doctor, without really any kind of diligence or any kind of thought, put him on a varying combination of different incredibly powerful antipsychotic drugs over the next 12 months, leading to a cardiac event that led to his death.
My goodness. How many drugs was he on?
Over the 12 months that this physician treated him, he was on 17 different drugs at different times, in different dosages, and in different combinations.
Oh my goodness.
And those drugs killed him.
Right. I believe that. I believe that's what happened to Matthew. Not
knowing all the facts of Matthew's story, there's no question in my mind that the drugs played a role. I mean, these drugs are dangerous. They're dangerous for adults, let alone children. And they're being prescribed recklessly, they're being administered recklessly, they're being promoted even more recklessly.
Michael, thank you so much for what you're doing and for letting me come in here and speak with you today.
It's my pleasure. Again, sorry for what you had to go through. I can only hope that what you're doing saves other families from having to go through that same tragedy.